Okay, so I'm going to start with the story that some of you have already heard about, because this one is what made this trip worthwhile. So on Tuesday, this young guy here in the red coat comes in with his daddy and register for their operation on Wednesday. This is Jason and his daddy. This is an exciting story. So I obviously got to sit and talk to them for a little bit, get them registered, get them up to their room, and get them settled. And his surgery was on Wednesday. And Wednesday afternoon, I had to go into the operating theater to grab one of the doctors for something else, and I was told, the doctor is unavailable because there's an emergency. And so we just started praying. And I found out a little bit later that Jason coded. They lost him when they administered anesthesia. And that can happen to anybody at any time. He may have just been allergic to that particular kind of anesthesia. We don't know. I mean, he's just a kid. He never had surgery before, so you don't know. So we prayed. And that night, well, I actually saw him. I was sitting right outside the operating theater in a desk area. They wheeled him out in front of me into the intensive care, and he was unconscious still. And my heart just broke. His parents were sitting like where Julie is from me, and they're crying, and they're calling family, and they're, distraught. And I went over and loved on the mom as much as I could. It's a tough situation. So Wednesday night, his family arrived. That's the lower left-hand picture. And so our entire team gathered around them. I was actually holding Dad's hand, and we prayed over them. And Santosh, the one in the blue scrubs, and his wife Susan are the founders of Love Without Reason. And they're spirit-filled, so we were praying in the spirit out loud. We were not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And Thursday, their family gave their lives to the Lord. Hallelujah. And on Friday, that last picture, Jason walked out of the hospital. Perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with him. He was not happy that I took his picture. Okay, next slide. Oh, this one broke my heart. Okay, so this guy came in late, this lady and this little boy. We have screening day on Sunday, but sometimes people don't make it to screening day for God knows all kinds of reasons. They live, 400 meters or 400 miles away. Not 400 miles, never mind. Anyway, they live a long ways away. They can't always make it to screening day, and we know this, and we're prepared for that. So if we have a couple trickle in after screening day, then I go ahead and process them and put them into the database, and I took them in to see the physicians, because on screening day, they go through the process of seeing the physicians and the anesthesiologist, and they have to be evaluated to make sure that they're okay for surgery. So I took them into the operating theater, and Susan and Santosh called the doctors over to examine him. And this young lady here holding him could not answer questions we were asking about her son. Well, she's not the mom. So what happened was, when this beautiful little boy was born, his parents abandoned him because he has a cleft lip. They dumped him. This is the cousin of the dad who now has custody of this little boy and raising him. I had to turn when she said it because I started crying. How could somebody abandon a child just because they look different? Who could do that? It's not right. thank God she's there to be with him and take him. And we prayed over him and asked the Lord to, raise him up. Okay, next picture. Oh my goodness. So this guy on the left is 57 years old, y'all. 57. He's never had surgery. His father abused him, would not let him go to school, would not let him out of the house. He was uneducated, and when he got older and was able to get away from his family, he left and started his own family and kind of educated himself the best he could. And so he works, he's like they call them engineers over there, but not like an engineer over here. So he's a mechanical engineer, but he does like laborer type mechanical work. There he is afterwards. His face is completely healed. He's sent me pictures since, and the swelling's all gone, and he looks like he never, ever had anything wrong with him. And he told Santosh that he was his dad. And Santosh is like, I just turned 50. It's impossible for me to be your dad. He said, but you gave me surgery, and my dad would not. I call you my dad. All right, the lady on the left, or the right, and her little boy, that is, what was his name? Begins with a D, and it escapes me now. Anyway, in the operating theater this time, I only went in a couple of times. And the first time I went in, last year, I was right there beside the doctor, watching them do the surgery. They're telling me what was going on. It was very cool. For whatever reason, there was a block this time. And I didn't understand what the block was while I was in Kenya. But I did end up sitting with this mom, Denzel's her son. I ended up sitting with her while Denzel was waiting to go into the operating theater and got to spend some quality time with her. About 45 minutes, we just sat and talked. And I believe that was just an amazing God thing, because when she went to go get her son from the recovery, they all have to come right by my desk. So as she's coming out of the recovery room with her son, I jump up and I'm shouting and praising and congratulating her, and we're both excited, and she just started bawling. And then we both were bawling because we were so excited, and she was so thankful over and over and over again. Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving my son this surgery. He had a hole in his soft palate. That's a difficult surgery. It's a difficult recovery. So he was in a lot of pain afterwards. I kept running upstairs to the ward where they were and checking on him and making sure, that he was getting his meds and stuff, because that particular surgery is more painful and more difficult to recover from than the hard palate or the cleft lip. So, all right, is that it? Nope, okay. So these are the guards at the hospital. And the lady stopped me at one point and was just talking to me, about Love Without Reason and thanking me for coming. And so then I showed her my pictures of when I was a baby and my cleft lip, and kind of shared a little bit of what I had been through. And she was just like, everybody does this. What? And I'm like, yeah, I had a cleft lip. It's been, I've had a few surgeries, and she's like, you can't tell. I'm like, I keep being told that. And so she ended up telling this guy, her coworker, about me. And he's like, there's no way. And so she made me come show him my pictures so that he could see that I really did have a cleft lip. And they both came up to me at different points in time, not only telling me, thank you, thank you, thank you for what you're doing, for the Kenyan people, but we want to now volunteer. So that was awesome. Is that it, or do I have any more? Oh, here's the team. So this was our volunteer team. This does not include the doctors, but this is all of the volunteers from Kenya, from the United States, and from India on our team. Oh, and one of the babies jumped into our picture. He was so funny. He actually sat with me for like an hour, and I eventually had to like have somebody go find his mom, because I told his mom I'll watch him. Well, she took off, and like an hour later, I still have the kid, and I'm like, can somebody go find his mom? So anyway, that's what God did. It was amazing and awesome.